Hey, this is Lucas, your Saturday Squishy Transpeep. I am relieved to get this week over with because I am done with finals, and so I decided to treat myself by shaving my head and shaving my face. I know, not much of a reward, but, on a limited sort of budget, that's really how I can celebrate. Anyways, the topic for this week is how do I get hormones? And let's see, I've been on testosterone since September 2nd of last year. So that means I've been on it for like 8 months. And the process of getting testosterone, should you want to get it, varies from state to state. So I'm just really going to be talking about Minnesota because that's what I know. So when I started coming out socially uh, over a year and a half ago, um, there are a couple of things that you have to do in order to, sort of be qualified to get testosterone, because Minnesota is one of those states where you do have to go to therapy for some time. Um, the recommended amount of time for me was, I'm trying to think, 6 months. It was either 3 months or 6 months. Um, so the therapist I was seeing at the time, I saw her from January of last year to about June, and then she had to move down south for a different job. So before she left, I was able to take the MMPI, which is another sort of required thing for some doctors. And I say some because not all doctors require that sort of form, which is essentially like, all right, the MMPI is sort of like a gender test, is the easiest way for me to explain it. And it asks you like 500 questions. I wish I was exaggerating, but around 500 or so questions regarding to how you feel about your identity and your gender. And it also asks you sort of psychological tests to make sure you qualify, which kind of annoyed me, but it's one of those sort of healthcare things. Anyway, so I took the test and got the results back couple of weeks after, and then my therapist was able to write the recommendation for me, saying, based on these results, Lucas has been in therapy for this amount of time. Um, I recommend that he goes forward with getting testosterone and, all that medical mumbo jumbo. So, and when you go to try to find a doctor, if you want to try to get tea, ask them if they require the recommendation form from your therapist, just to, make sure you know exactly how long that process is going to take. Um, so my doctor is named Dr. Thorpe, and I handed the recommendation letter from my therapist to her, and I was able to get the prescription for tea relatively quickly. I had heard some stories from friends of mine that um, their doctors, or some sort of complications went on, that they weren't able to get the prescription for a really long time. So I was really surprised and grateful that it didn't take me that long after getting the recommendation to be able to get testosterone. Um, let's see. My insurance doesn't cover my tea, so all of it is pretty much out of pocket for each time that I have to go in for a refill. And for me, the first vial that I had, as the doses kept on increasing, that lasted for about 6 months. So I'm on my second vial of testosterone, and the dose has been pretty consistent, so I'm not sure exactly how long that's going to last. But in comparison from the cost the first time around to this time around, there's a difference by like at least $20. That doesn't make me happy. I'm probably gonna try to find a different pharmacy to get my tea from. Motivation wise, that might be a hinder. So yeah, for Minnesota, in order to get tea, it's strongly recommended that you get at least 3 to 6 months of therapy beforehand. Not just because uh, it'll ensure you to get tea, but it also just helps to have someone to talk to about your transitioning in general. And the more open and accepting your therapist is, and the more aware they are about trans issues, the better. Um, and then uh, some doctors um, do require the recommendation letter with that particular test, the MMPI. I was able to get it for free because I was seeking therapy through the U of M, but regularly the MMPI tests cost about $1,000, and I don't know exactly if there is another way around it besides finding a really super hardcore awesome therapist who could waive that fee for you. I honestly don't know. So that the cost for therapy and the cost for the test potentially um, are things to consider, as well as if your insurance can cover it and if you have a doctor who is aware of trans issues and is uh, open and honest and stuff. Um, so, yeah, if you have any questions for me about my particular route to tea specifically, leave a comment or send me a message. My YouTube username is lacemyster, LACEMYSTER. Um, or, if you just have questions in general, or, other pieces of advice if you're from Minnesota about how to get cheaper tea, or what doctors you recommend and all that jazz. Yeah. So that is it for this week. I hope you all have a great and fabulous Saturday, and I will see you next week.